Every earnings cycle, there's a name where the market reaction makes us scratch our heads a bit. This earnings cycle, that name is First Majestic Silver. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor of this channel. The results were objectively positive overall. Q1 saw a number of new records achieved by First Majestic. Record revenue, record mine operating earnings, record cash flow from operations, record cash position, record EBITDA, and record silver production. But in fairness to the market, analysts had expected slightly more out of their adjusted EPS. And that appears to be what this market cares about. But still, I like the results. Let's dive in. First Majestic Silver in the first quarter of 2025, as we just said, reported record revenue, with revenue improving 130% year over year, growing from $106 to $244 million, with 57% of sales derived specifically from silver. The massive jump was attributed to a 64% improvement in the amount of silver equivalent ounces sold, which was bolstered by the acquisition of Gatos Silver and their Cerro Los Gatos asset early in the quarter, but also by increased production at San Dimas, and a 37% increase in the average realized silver price. First Mint also continued its growth, with revenue of $7.9 million in Q1, compared to $1 million last year, with the number of silver bullion ounces sold from the mint equivalent to 7% of First Majestic's total silver production. Mine operating earnings, meanwhile, improved from a loss of $300,000 to positive $63.8 million, another quarterly record for the company. This was again attributed to the acquisition of the Cerro Los Gatos mine, as well as meaningful profitability improvements at First Majestic's other district-scale operations, Santa Elena and San Dimas, as a result of cost efficiencies and the aforementioned 37% improvement in the average realized silver price from $23.72 to $32.50 per ounce year over year. First Majestic swung from a net loss of $13.6 million or 5 cents per share in the first quarter of 2024 to net income of $6.2 million or 1 cent per share in the first quarter of 2025. Adjusted earnings, excluding non-cash or non-recurring items, improved to $20.9 million, or 5 cents per share in Q1 of 2025, from a net loss of $18.6 million, or 6 cents a share last year. EBITDA likewise improved to $98.8 million from $6.6 million on a year-over-year basis, a jump of nearly 1,400%, while adjusted EBITDA improved to $110 million from just $12 million, an improvement of 814%. In terms of cash flow from operations improved by $97.4 million year over year, ballooning to $110 million from $12.6, and yet another new record for the company, while free cash flow improved to $43.5 million from $900,000. This is even after the company paid out $28 million in cash taxes, a result of strong performance at Santa Elena in 2024, and had negative working capital adjustments of $26.5 million. First Majestic ended the first quarter with a cash position of $463 million, the highest figure ever in company history, with total liquidity sitting at $544 million, which consists of $405 million in working capital and $140 million from an undrawn credit facility. Lastly, the company in the first quarter purchased and canceled 262,500 common shares at an average price of $8.20 a share, while buying back a further 331,000 shares in April, post-quarter end. First Majestic also declared a dividend of 0.45 cents a share following their first quarter performance, in line with their dividend policy targeting a payout of approximately 1% of net quarterly revenues. It wasn't just the financial performance that made Q1 so great for First Majestic. It was also their operational performance. First Majestic in the first quarter of 2025 produced a total of 7.7 million silver equivalent ounces, which was comprised of a record 3.7 million silver ounces and a further 36,469 gold ounces. Silver production was up by 88% year over year, on account of the acquisition of Gatos as well as production growth at San Dimas, while gold production improved by 1%. That's right, the biggest producer in Q1 was San Dimas, which accounted for 2.6 million silver equivalent ounces, followed by Santa Elena at 2.3 million ounces and Cerro Los Gatos at 2.3 million ounces. First Majestic now benefits from having 3 world-class district-scale operations in their portfolio. La Encantada, their 4th producing mine, accounted for 600,000 silver equivalent ounces. In terms of costing, First Majestic's costs have also declined on a year-over-year basis. Cash costs dropped by 9%, falling from $15 to $13.68 an ounce, while all-in sustaining costs per silver equivalent ounce improved from $21.53 to $19.24, an 11% improvement. The decline in costs in Q1 was attributed to continued cost efficiency initiatives and an increase in tons of ore processed, alongside a weakening Mexican peso versus the US dollar, which was 20% lower on average in Q1 2025 versus Q1 of 2024. In terms of outlook, First Majestic is well on track to meeting their previously issued 2025 guidance. That guidance called for annual production of 27.8 to 31.2 million silver equivalent ounces, with Q1 production achieving 26% of that guidance on a midpoint basis. Cash costs of $13.68 in Q1 are ahead of guidance, calling for cash costs of $14.10 to $14.86 an ounce for the year, while AISC of $19.24 in Q1 is favorable to 2025 guidance of $19.89 to $21.27 an ounce, meaning the company is seemingly well on pace to beat their original guidance. All right, so let's wrap it up. Market reaction aside, Q1 was a strong start to the year for First Majestic, which was undoubtedly bolstered by their acquisition of Gatos Silver. That purchase is looking to have been a wise decision, with the mine contributing $27.6 million in mine operating earnings for the quarter and 2.3 million attributable silver equivalent ounces, despite the Cerro Los Gatos asset being added to the mix 2 weeks into the quarter. However, even when excluding the contribution from Gatos, production and mine operating earnings were up year over year in the first quarter, thanks to the strong performances at both Santa Elena and San Dimas. Outside of that, First Majestic's balance sheet has never been stronger, and they're expected to continue to strengthen it, and that's a good spot to be in as we move into a precious metals bull market. Look, almost every time gold runs, silver follows. And in my view, First Majestic is in a great spot to capitalize on an upcoming capital flow frenzy into miners. When will that happen? Well, I think we're close. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. If there are other stories you want us to cover, please let us know in the comment section. Also, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. All right, everybody, thanks for watching.